Well, this time, the story of the dragon. I am a person who since childhood has believed in a series of things that I thought were normal at the beginning, the things that happened to me, image splitting, all this type of things. Then as time went by, I realized that not all the children around me were aware of these things that I experienced personally. Things that happened to me in dreams that I have had throughout my life. In short, I want to say that in a way, without being able to explain it, I believe in reincarnation and I believe in all those kinds of things. Life before life, life after life. And all those things. Well, the story of the dragon. A day begins when a friend passed away. A very close friend, Jose Falconpla. I lived in Madrid, and there was my partner, my wife, with me at home. This man died. Normally in summer we had the doors open in a line, crossing the floor, and on the other side we had gardens and swimming pools. This had never happened. That happened that day he died. Suddenly one of the doors closed violently. He gave a resounding blow. And well, I don't want to go too deep, because the interesting thing about it all is the dragon story. Well, that was something that surprised us a lot, that precisely on the day this friend, a very dear friend, died, this happens. That has history too. Then, the day my father died at the age of 88 in Chile, I used to have an altar like I still have here now. An altar on which I had photos of my father and my mother, and I usually put candles. I usually have candles 24 hours a day and 365 days a year, if I am at home, if I am in my place. So that day my father died, I had put the candles lit in a place, in a room. On the other side was the bedroom, and we had a television in front of it on the wall, and I also had my computer under the television where I used to work, my laptop. I lit part of the candles with incense. Everything was normal. It had always been normal. The candles, the incense smoke and all this. And my wife, who was behind me watching television, was seeing what was happening, but I had not realized until then. The following thing happened. There was a manpara, the sanctuary that I had, the candle and the incense. So normally the smoke comes out normally and evaporates with the air, with the movement of the air. But that day I began to feel. While I was working on the computer, I began to smell an intense incense-like smell, very intense. And I looked to the right and saw how the smoke was coming, apparently normal, but very thick. It was coming towards my face like that. Of course, I was inhaling it. Without realizing it, I was inhaling that smoke, and it was becoming more intense. Then I got worried, and I looked again, and the smoke was waving. It was no longer coming in a straight line or evaporating. And my wife, who was in the back, tells me, "Raul, are you seeing what I'm seeing?" And I tell him, "I don't know what you see." I told him because what I'm seeing is that the incense is coming more and more to my face. And I had a chair with wheels, a computer chair. So I would lean back, and the smoke that came out of a screen in a straight line, when it reached the end of the screen, made an angle, turned, and came towards me. And when I held the chair back, the chair broke towards me again, always following me. I mean, how strange. I tell her, "Maria, do you realize?" He tells me, "Yes," he says, "but I'll tell you what I'm seeing," he tells me. "It's a dragon," he says. "It's a dragon. The smoke turns into a dragon. It makes a dragon figure that goes towards you." And the curious thing was that that behavior had never been normal. I would lean back, the smoke would follow me back. I would move to the side, it would follow me to the side, it would go forward, it always stayed close to my face. Well, we didn't understand that at that moment. We didn't understand why that had happened. It was curious, but I don't like it either. As I say, since I have had a series of diverse experiences since childhood in this relationship with these things, I never get scared or get upset like that. It is said that we let it be like that. After a while, months pass, and I have a dream, a meeting with my father. We met, I saw him as phenomenal, wonderful. We have been talking, like in the movies, chatting cordially. He let me see, he made me understand that he was fine, that I should not worry. And when we said goodbye to this conversation, we each turned around. He walked in one direction, and I in the opposite direction. But suddenly he turned around and said to me, "Raoul." I turned around and looked at him. And he tells me, "Don't forget the dragon." Okay, I didn't understand anything, but okay, the dragon appears again. That made me relate it later. I didn't realize it at the time either. It was later that, while talking with my wife, we again analyzed that the dragon was coming out for the second time. The day my father died with the incense, and then in a dream where he tells me not to forget the dragon. I didn't know what he meant. I am a tiger in the eastern Orohopo. I am a tiger. My daughter, one of my daughters, Alba, is a dragon with whom we have a perfect lifelong relationship. Very good with all the children I have, but with her, she is special. Well, time continues to pass, and one day I had met at the market in Almuñécar. One Sunday, a friend had agreed to meet me there. I left in the car, parked it there, and went for a walk through the market. Then walking by there, I suddenly see a beautiful wooden dragon. Very beautiful, very pretty. I look at it, I kept thinking it must be very expensive. It must be because that work made of solid wood must be very expensive. But I liked it, I was attracted to it. I went to the end of the market. I walked back past that store again. I looked at the dragon again. I stayed carefully. I took a few steps forward. I turned to fix it. I looked again. I didn't know. The dragon attracted me, but I didn't know at that moment the same thing is not analyzed. It is said why this is happening to me. Not normal. It could be a normal situation. You are seeing a dragon and you like it, and that's it. But the man who had seen me, the owner of the store, tells me, "You like the dragon, right?" And I tell him, yes, I like it a lot, but it must be very expensive. And he tells me, "How much money do you have in your pocket?" And I had exactly 80 euros, 420 bills. And he tells me, "How much money is in your pocket?" I tell him, "I have 80 euros. And he tells me, "You don't have any more." I don't have 80. Well, if you give me the 80 euros is his. And I told him that I don't have any more money. And I have met a friend and I have invited him to breakfast. Then I need something to invite him. He tells me, "Well, give me the 80 euros and it's yours. If not, there's nothing more to talk about." Well, I took a few steps again to leave. I didn't understand the situation. I turned back. I tell you, "Really?" He said, yes, really. Give me 80 euros and I'll take it to you." Well, I took out the 80 euros. I gave it to him and he asked me, "Do you have the car nearby?" I tell him, "No, I have it 3 blocks away." He tells me, "Go pick it up. Come behind the store, at the market, on a street, and I'll take it out to the car. I'll give it to him in the car, because it weighs a lot." I mean, okay, great. I went to look for the car. I went all the way around. I went there. He came out with the dragon wrapped in a cloth. He put it in my car, and before leaving, he knocked on my window. I lowered the glass, and he told me, "Really, just I had 80 euros. I mean, I promise you, I didn't have it. I don't have it anymore. I was only 80. Well, that's it. He says, "It's yours. Enjoy it." And he left. And I was delighted to bring it out of life because I like these things, right? I like the figures. I like the story, many little things. So, of course, when I was coming back, I stopped here at the horseshoe in front of the beach. I put it in the wax. I took photos of it. It was beautiful. I brought it home and placed it in a place which is not here, which is where I have it now. And then we started relating the same thing. This is the 3rd time the dragon appears to me, right? It has to have some meaning. Well, there must be something. I don't know how to explain it. Well, in a way I could explain it. A first warning of my father's death, a dragon. The dream again mentions the dragon to me, and then I find a dragon that I didn't expect, which they sold to me at a miserable price for having been honest. For example, we can put it this way, that I didn't have any more money. Well, here is the dragon. That is the story of the dragon.